Hey, good morning, guys. It is February 17th, and the passage this morning is from First Kings 19. And it's an interesting, so you have to understand the what comes before this to really understand what Elijah in First Kings is dealing with. So it's interesting. I just sent I have a nephew named Elijah, and just sent him a passage from First Kings 18 yesterday, and it is the kind of the showdown of gods on Mount Carmel, and Elijah challenges the prophets of Baal to a showdown. And he brings all the people of Israel up onto this mountain to watch it, and the prophets of Baal all day long try to get their god to light the fire at the altar, and they do all kinds of crazy stuff. And then Elijah finally says at the end of the day, okay, that's enough. He rebuilds the altar of God, lays the sacrifice there, has them dump water, and they're in the middle of a drought, by the way, that he had caused, or he had at least prophesied and said it's not going to rain for 3 years, or it's not going to rain until I say so, is what he had done 3 years prior. Anyway, they're in the middle of a drought. They pour a bunch of water on the altar, and then he prays to God, and God lights the fire, and the altar's burned up, and the sacrifice. And so then the prophets of Baal, he has them brought, 450 of them brought before him, and he slaughters all of them. He kills all of them. And so if you can just imagine that in your mind's eye, what that kind of, but what the scene would look like. But here's the story. He's had this incredible victory over. He's gotten rid of the prophets of Baal. He's reestablished this the dominance, at least in the eyes of the people, of the God of Israel, the one true God. And and then he predicts it's going to rain again, and so he says, okay, rain's coming. And right after all that, after like being on this peak, he hears from Jezebel, who is the wicked queen who all these prophets basically worked for, because she was a pagan queen. I'm going to kill you. And Elijah runs away. He's just killed the 450 prophets of Baal. He's just stood up to Ahab's been there, by the way, the king has seen all this. But Jezebel has said to him, if I don't kill you by tomorrow, then well, she said your life is going to be like one of these, and so basically, I'm gonna take care of you. And he runs away, and so we find Elijah. And sorry, all that to say, we find Elijah just after this peak experience, like one of the highlights of his life and his ministry as a prophet. And he is depressed. He is says, I just want to die. He says to God, I just want to die. Just take me out. Just I want to die. And he falls asleep, and an angel of the Lord wakes him up, and in this First Kings 19:5 says, arise and eat. And he's prepared a meal for him to eat. And the gist of um, the study for today is sometimes the simple things. God speaks to you in the simple things. Do this. Like, for example, sometimes God will just place in your heart, just get away from people. Just get away for the day. Just ride up into the mountains, sit in an overlook, look at creation. I know I've been dealing a lot with that, because that's sometimes for me that really makes a difference, is just get outside and look up, or even get up into the mountains and just breathe some fresh air and look into the sky. But sometimes God has to do, he tells you to do not the great glorious things, but some of the small things that that's where he speaks to you. With Moses, he had pushed him into the cleft of the rock, and he had no, sorry. Moses wanted to see God. He's not in the earthquake. He's not in the whirlwind. He's not in the earthquake, whirlwind, fire. But God speaks to him in a still small voice. Sometimes the still small voice is where God, and it's just the mundane stuff. But what Chambers says is, in taking an estimate of yourself here, and this is the first paragraph, always take into account the capacity for depression. You may just be at a point where you need God to speak to you in some simple way. And here, for Elijah, it's arise and eat. Um, if we do a thing in order to overcome depression, that's what close to the end here, Chambers is saying, we deepen the depression. But if the Spirit of God makes us feel intuitively that we must do the thing, and we do it, the depression is gone. And that thing, and what he's getting at here too, is that sometimes it's the still small voice. Sometimes it's just God being able to just telling you, okay, just stop for a second and do the simple stuff, and I'll speak to you in the simple stuff. go for a walk. Some of the things that we need to be able to hear God speak. And in this, God shows his concern for Elijah, and that he knows that Elijah needs some sustenance. He needs some rest, and he needs to be fed. And so that's what he does for Elijah. So anyway, I know I've been talking a lot about getting outside and looking up in the sky, so maybe we should do that. Maybe I should do that more. You guys have a great day.